And now, one of my favorite passages in romantic fiction, the 10th Vigil of E.T.A. Hoffmann's The Golden Pot, or rather the beginning of it. The sufferings of the student Anselmus in the glass bottle. Happy life of the sixth formers and solicitors' clerks. The battle in the archivist Lindhorst's library. I may be permitted, kind reader, to doubt whether you have ever been enclosed in a glass bottle, unless some vivid dream has teased you with such magical mishaps. If that has been the case, then you will sympathize warmly with poor Anselmus's misery. But if you have never had such dreams, then you will do me and Anselmus a favor by letting your active imagination enclose you in the crystal for a few minutes. You are enfolded by a dazzling glitter. All the objects on every side appear illuminated and surrounded by rays of light in all the colors of the rainbow. This shimmering light makes everything quiver, shake, and rumble. You are floating, unable to move a muscle, in what seems like frozen ether, squeezing you so tightly that it is in vain for your spirit to issue commands to your lifeless body. The huge burden presses more and more heavily upon your chest. Each breath you take consumes more of the scanty supply of air circulating in the confined space. Your veins swell. Hideous terror afflicts you. Your every nerve twitches as it bleeds in mortal agony. Have pity, kind reader, on the student Anselmus who suffered these unutterable tortures in his glass prison. He was well aware, however, that death could not release him. For having fainted through excessive suffering, did he not awaken as the morning sun was shining brilliantly and cheerfully into the room? And did his tortures not begin afresh? He could not lift a finger, but his thoughts knocked against the glass with a discordant sound that dulled his senses, and instead of the clear voice of his inner spirit, he could apprehend only the muffled roaring of madness. In despair he shrieked, "Oh, Serpentina! Serpentina! Rescue me from this infernal torment!" And he seemed to feel the wafting of gentle sighs which settled on the bottle like a translucent green leaves of the elder tree. The ringing ceased, the bewildering, dazzling glitter disappeared, and he could breathe more freely. Am I not solely to blame for my misery? Alas, have I not offended against you, gracious and beloved Serpentina? Was I not base enough to doubt you? Did I not lose my faith, and with it everything that was to have made me supremely happy? Alas, you will never be mine. I have lost the golden pot. I shall never be permitted to behold its wonders. Oh, if only I could see you just once, and hear your sweet melodious voice. Lovely Serpentina! Cut to the quick by his bitter sorrow, Anselmus was lamenting in this manner, when someone said right beside him, "I don't know what's the matter with you, my scholarly friend. Why are you kicking up such an unholy row?" Anselmus realized that there were 5 more bottles standing next to him on the same shelf, and in them he perceived 3 sixth formers from the cross school and 2 solicitor clerks. "Gentlemen," he exclaimed, "companions in misfortune, how can you possibly be so calm as your cheerful faces show? You are confined in glass bottles just as I am, and can't move a muscle, nor even have a sensible thought without a dreadful ringing and clanging, and without feeling as if your heads were spinning. But I don't suppose you believe in the salamander and the green snake." "You must be raving, my scholarly friend," replied one of the sixth formers. "We have never been so well off as we are now, thanks to the silver thalers which the mad archivist paid us for copying out his strange squiggles. We don't have to learn any more Italian choruses. Now we can go every day to Joseph's bar, stare the occasional pretty girl in the face, and sing Gaudeamus Igitur, just like real students. We're having the time of our lives. The gentlemen are quite right, put in a solicitor's clerk. I am likewise well supplied with silver thalers, as is my cherished colleague here beside me, and I spend all my time strolling in the vineyard gardens, instead of sitting indoors copying out dusty documents. But, my good sirs, said Anselmus, can't you feel that every one of you is sitting in a glass bottle, unable to move a muscle, let alone go strolling about? Thereupon all the sixth formers and solicitors' clerks let out a peal of laughter and shouted, Our scholarly friend is mad. He thinks he's in a glass bottle when he's standing on the Elba Bridge and looking down into the water. Let's go on. Alas, sighed the student, they have never beheld the lovely Serpentina, and they have no inkling of freedom and life in faith and love. That is why they do not feel the pressure of the prison to which the salamander confined them, because of their folly and mean-spiritedness. But I, wretch that I am, will perish in misery and disgrace, unless I am rescued by her, whom I love so inexpressibly. At that moment, Serpentina's voice wafted and murmured through the room. Anselmus, have faith, love, and hope. Every sound she uttered radiated into Anselmus's prison, and the glass was compelled to yield to her power and extend itself, letting the captive's chest move and expand. His situation became steadily less agonizing, and he realized that Serpentina still loved him, and that it was she who was making his confinement in the glass bearable. He no longer troubled himself about his empty-headed companions in misfortune, but bent all his thoughts upon the lovely Serpentina. Suddenly, however, a dull, unpleasant muttering arose from his other side. Soon he perceived that this muttering came from an old coffee pot with a broken lid standing on a small cupboard opposite him. As he looked more closely, the odious features of an old woman's shriveled face became more and more distinct, and a moment later, the apple woman from the Black Gate was standing in front of the shelf. Grinning and laughing in his face, she cried in her harsh voice, Well, well, my lad, you must be patient. Into glass you shall pass. Didn't I foretell this long ago? Jeer and fleer as much as you like, you damned old witch, said Anselmus. You are to blame for everything, but the salamander will catch you, you nasty Mangelwurzel. I'll leave us here to look up what a Mangelwurzel is.